Students from New York's Dalton School recall how Jeffrey Epstein was hired as a teacher in 1970s. Published 1459 BST, July 13, 2019. Updated 1541 BST, July 13, 2019. Some of Jeffrey Epstein's former students have been remembering their former teacher in the wake of his arrest and not guilty plea on federal sex trafficking charges in New York. The now 66-year-old hedge fund manager is accused of paying underage girls hundreds of dollars for massages and then molesting them at various locations from 2002 through 2005. But Epstein, who taught calculus and physics at Manhattan's co-ed Dalton School on the Upper East Side in the 1970s, appears to have been a polarizing figure there, with some remembering him as a caring teacher, while others say he was lousy and a creep. Jeffrey Epstein taught math and science at the Dalton School in New York, but some former pupils noted he was particularly forward with female students. Epstein had no college degree when he was hired to teach at the Dalton School, pictured. The school is one of. Epstein was just 20 years old when worked at the private school for 2 years teaching students who were just a few years younger than he was at the time, according to Dalton, one of New York City's most prestigious private schools, is known for its sky-high cost, with the student body being made up from the sons and daughters of New York's richest and most influential families. Over the last week, former students, parents, and teachers have been sharing memories on him on the school's Facebook page, with some suggesting they saw red flags in his behavior decades ago. "He stood out as this young guy in this weird coat," said Karen Williams to the A. Epstein, who was 20 at the time, was seen a charismatic teacher who at times acted more like a friend than an authority figure to students, especially girls. Williams left Dalton before her junior year in 1976, and never had Epstein as a teacher. "You noticed him." Epstein was known for his informal dress. Some students. Williams claims that he would often be spotted surrounded by a group of female students, many of whom would be flirting with him. Dr. Susan Cohn told the Huffington Post she remembered Epstein telling students not to stress about the class because they were all going to get A's. "I didn't learn a whole lot. He didn't take the Epstein, now 66, was arrested last Saturday night in New Jersey, facing sex trafficking charges alleging he abused dozens of underage girls in early 2000s. Although there is no suggestion anything untoward took place at the Dalton School, students from classes in the 1970s say the era as a whole was sexually permissive. Student-faculty relationships were generally seen as eyebrow-raising rather than abusive, according to the Post. "What's sickening is that a creep like Epstein took that and never let go of it," said an anonymous student. "There were a number of teachers who looked at the student body as their next meal," said Mark Robinson, who graduated in 1974. "It's a little icky. You want to have pop." Another former student remembered Epstein showing up at a party where students were drinking, and paid most attention to the girls in hallways and classrooms. "I can remember thinking at the time, this is wrong," said Scott Spicer to the Times. "There was a real clarity of the inappropriateness of the behavior. That this isn't how adult male teachers conduct themselves," another student, Millicent Young, said. Dalton graduate Paul Grossman said that he never had Epstein in class, but that he was known among students as a math whiz. "Everyone pretty much knew him as brilliant," said Grossman, who graduated in 1978. "None of us were Epstein was hired by the school's headmaster Donald Barr, the late father of Attorney General William Barr, whose office is now prosecuting Epstein. Barr apparently used to enjoy hiring young people in their early 20s whom he thought were full or potential, but it was unusual for a teacher, like Epstein, to be hired without a college degree. Epstein only taught at Dalton for 2 years before he was hired by the investment bank Bear Stearns after tutoring the chairman's son. Epstein left Dalton in the mid-1970s at the urging of a student's father, who arranged a meeting with the chairman of the investment bank. He later began. In 2008, he reached a non-prosecution agreement with federal prosecutors in Florida over allegations of sex with underage girls. He was allowed to plead. Epstein nearly got another break in 2011, when the Manhattan District Attorney's Office took the unusual step of asking a judge to register him as a lowest-level sex offender so he wouldn't be required to check in with authorities every 90 days. Judge Ruth Pick. Federal prosecutors acknowledged earlier this week that the current charges overlap with the Florida case from more than a decade ago. But they said the comments below have been moderated in advance. By posting your comment you agree to our. Do you want to automatically post your Mail Online comments to your Facebook timeline? Your comment will be posted to Mail Online as usual. Do you want to automatically post your Mail Online comments to your Facebook timeline? Your comment will be posted to Mail Online as usual. We will automatically post your comment and a link to the news story to your Facebook timeline at the same time it is posted on Mail Online. To do this, you can choose on each post whether you would like it to be posted to Facebook. Your details from published by Associated Newspapers Limited. Part of the Daily Mail, the Mail on Sunday Metro Media Group.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.